and there is a personification that the poet gives the spring a human attribute, so that he can produce the buds and flowers or plumes.
Yes, this is one of the figures of speech that the poet employs in his poem. Thank you. Other things you want to add?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
When told about it.
Okay. Okay, now I'll ask you, please turn off your mic. The Soote season that bud and the bloom forth brings. We have here anostrophe. The Soote season, the sweet season, which means spring, which brings forth, which brings forward a blooming and the budding of the plants. So he is now talking about this season, the speaker. With the green, this spring, also we can say here, spring, we can say, spring, with the green, have clad the hill and eke the vale. With the green, have clad the hill and eke the vale, which means that spring is a nourisher, mun'ish lil hayat, a kind of a life provider, a life supporter. This spring is going to cover the hills and the valleys with the green color. As we said, it is the season of life. It is the season of regeneration, of إعادة إحياء المخلوقات. As we know, before spring, what do we have? Which season? We have winter, in which most of the animals go in hibernation, في سبات. Because of the cold weather, the flowers die. For example, the trees lose their leaves, الأوراق مالتها, and everything goes in hibernation. Even some of the animals, they do not appear in winter. They just like collect some of the food in winter and they hibernate, and when spring is back, they go back on the ground to live their life. So the poet is talking about certain images by which he could portray that beautiful season, that interesting season. And later we will compare these images to other images from other different seasons. So with the green, has clad, dressed, covered the hill. It means covered. We explained these I think previously. And also the valley, The nightingale, one of the other images, the nightingale, with feathers in you she sings. She sings with feathers in you. She sings with feathers in you. Yani having new feathers. repairing its own feathers, having a different kind of, let's say, different kind of feathers. Maybe they are regenerated, renewed, repaired, and she is singing. Singing is a sign of happiness, you know. When birds start to sing, they are happy. The turtle, السلحفاة, to her mate, to her friend, to her colleague, has told her tale. And started chatting, talking, expressing her joy, enjoying her time. You know, all these refer to the nice side of life, or the nice experience they are having. As you see here in this quatrain, the poet talks about these images, or three images we have. The image of spring, in which it brings the blooming and the budding of plants, and it also covers the land with the green color. And we have the image of the nightingale with its feathers anew, and also the turtle, which talks about life, chatting, discussing, enjoying her time with her colleague. So we have these three images which express the happiness of the creatures, and this could refer to the joy that these creatures are living. The poet then moves to another season, and he starts with summer is come. Summer is come. For every spray now springs. As we said, spray, it means either a bunch of flowers, باقة مع الزهور, or it means a bow. bow يعني الغصن, غصن الشجرة. Summer is come. For every spray now springs. Because these, you know, these bows عادة تبدأ الbudding مالتها بالspring, but it does not grow until the time of summer. Most of you have trees in your gardens and in your houses, and you see the process of the plants, how the budding starts. البرعة ما تبدأ بالربيع, the flowers come, and then the springs start to grow bigger and bigger through the time of the summer. The heart hath hung his old head on the pail. The heart, طبعا we refer here to personification. We did not mention that. Personification, as the nightingale is singing. The nightingale is singing. And also we have here the turtle to her mate had told her tale.
Can I explain this, Doctor?
Yeah, go ahead.
The second two lines in the first quatrain. And the third line, there is a personification that the poet gives the night triangle a human attribute. That's able to renew his feathers, and the poet uses the subject pronoun, which is she, when he talks about it.
Yes.
In addition to that, it was sings happy.
Yeah.
While in the fourth line, the poet speaks about the turtle and made it able to speak the story to her friends.
Great. Thank you. So as you see here, the personification here is doubled. It is by adding the pronoun she when we have this pronoun. This is a human pronoun. Yes. And also another attribute, which is we have the word sing, because singing is for humans, not for animals. So we have double personification. And also the turtle, which tells her tale. Telling and talking is not a quality to be attributed to animals. It is a human equality. So we have, and also the pronoun her. This pronoun is ascribed for humans only. So we have these figures of speech here. Summers come for every spring now, springs, as I said. The heart has hung his old head. As you see here, we also have personification. His old head on the pail. The heart is playing, is moving, putting his old head, his horns on the pail, on the fence. The buck in break his winter, again personification, in his, and he, his winter coat he flings, as if he is a human. وكأنه هو إنسان. وش يسوي؟ يخلع الرداء مالته أو السترة مالته أو الcoat of that animal. So as you see, we have also double personification here through the pronouns his and the pronoun he. The fishes float. Yeah?
Yes, Doctor. The poet gives an imaginative image that took of his winter.
Mm-hmm.
But this means that the poet used personification, bringing the buck as a human that can take off his winter coat.
Okay, thank you. The fishes float with a new repaired scale. So I'd like you to focus on the images that the poet provides in order to describe the season. For example, in the second quatrain, the poet starts with the image of the sprays of the boughs. We can look at the trees and see how these boughs are growing step by step, inch by inch, until they get bigger and bigger. And also the image of the heart, which plays with his horns, with his head, and put it on the fence or on the poles of the fence. And again, the buck and break in groups, they fling out, they remove, they undress their own coats, the coats of the winter. The other image is related to the fish. So you see here we're talking about the images on land, and also we have an image on the sea or the waters, the river, for example. The fish float to the new repaired scale. The fish comes up to the surface of the water with the new repaired scale, with the new repaired skin. Another image is related to the adder. The adder, yani the snake. The snake appears while sloughing away her skin. You know, we talked about this image previously, actually. Sometimes, or it is a kind of a natural phenomena, يعني ظاهرة طبيعية for snakes. They remove or they take off their own skin every year in order to have a new skin, which is a sign of rebirth. I'd like you to put this idea in mind: a rebirth sign, a regeneration, أو نسميها احنا rebirth، إعادة إحياء. Birth ولادة، rebirth إعادة الولادة، إعادة الحياة، the rebirth or the regeneration of these animals. Because as you see, مثلا when we say the buck took off his coat in this season, and he will take off his coat every season, which is a sign of regeneration, a sign of rebirth, إعادة حياة, that this kind of animal will not get too old very soon, just like humans maybe. The adder all her slough away she slings. The adder slings away her slough, for example, or her skin. And another image.
Can I take the line itself?
Yeah.
Ninth line. And the ninth line, the poet regarding the adder or the snake as a person that it can throw away its old skin.
Okay.
And, he uses the pronoun here and the subject pronoun she when he talks about it.
Okay, why do you think he refers to this image? What does he want to communicate, the poet, by saying that the snake is removing her skin? What do you think is the purpose behind the portrayal of the image of the snake here?
Give the hope to the listener and the reader.
Yes.
That the life is gone.
Okay.
Everything is changed to good, not to someone bad.
Yeah, right.
To say that the life is continuous, although all the difficulties.
Okay, life is continuing in spite of different hindrances, difficulties that face humans. A kind of hope that the poet tries to transmit to his friends, to himself maybe, that life is moving. Okay. So all these, and at the same time, it can somehow, these images give us some happiness. You know, you see that these animals are happy with the change of the seasons, with the movement of the time. The other image is the swift swallow. Please turn off the mics because there is echo. Yeah? Okay. The swift swallow. The swift swallow. What do you mean by the swift swallow? Yes, it's a kind of a very fast bird, a fast, it's called السنونو, طائر السنونو. The swift swallow pursues the fly's smell, and we said it could be the small flies, or as the poet uses anastrophe, it could be the small flies, or it could be the smell of the flies. And this is another image that the poet is portraying for us as readers, as the a kind of portrayal of the season of the year, which shows that this kind of bird is not, for example, is not sad, is not hibernating, is not sitting doing nothing, etc. I'd like you to pay attention to the we talked about personification, at the same time we have alliteration. In most of the lines we have, for example here, heart has hung his head. This is alliteration, and we said that this alliteration adds a lot to the musicality of the poem, and it also confirms certain ideas that the poet wants to highlight. Buck, a break, his, he, a swift, a swallow, a smell, the busy bee, her honey now, she mings. The busy bee, her honey now, she mings. What kind of elements we have here? Figures of speech or sound devices?
Dr. Alliteration.
Okay, and the busy bee. Now we have alliteration. Other than alliteration, what do we have?
Yes, for musical.
No, other elements beside alliteration. What do we have?
Yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Personification. Also alliteration.
Okay.
Dr. Onomatopoeia.
No, we don't have onomatopoeia. When we have the sound, for example, buzz, such kind of words are present, we have onomatopoeia. Other than onomatopoeia, we have personification, as you see here, she means, but others. What do we have?
The metaphor. A personification.
Personification, yeah. She means personification, and her also. Others? Do we have assonance? Do we have assonance? Do you remember the word assonance, the definition assonance?
The word ends with the vowels.
Okay, now I will highlight it so you can now see it clearly. You see here, busy.
Assonance.
Yeah, we
Is
have.
it from line to line or the same line?
Yeah, assonance is a repetition of a vowel sound in the middle of a word or the end of a word in a specific line. إعادة الصوت العلة سواء كان في وسط الكلمة أو نهاية الكلمة في لاين محدد. مثل ما تشوفون we have busy, bee, honey, she. You see the music here. The busy, bee, honey, she. This is all related to what? Assonance. ما تذكرون الأسونانس رغم أنه أخذنا إحنا. So the busy bee, you know, a bee, البيز أو النحل بصورة عامة is are diligent insects. يعني جادة بالعمل مالتها. They are hard working. They do a lot in order to serve their objective حتى يخدمون الهدف اللي هم يعيشون من أجله. You know, the bee lives for about 20 days, I think, 21 days only. So when they get life, they start working hardly. And as you see here, the busy bee is busy making her honey. The swiftest swallow is busy following his food and the smell of the flies. And all the other animals are either enjoying an image of enjoyment, joy and pleasure, or an image of hard working and looking for food. And now winter is won. That was the flower's bale. Winter is won. Winter has come. The bale, as we said, bale means sadness. Bale means sadness. You know, I said in the previous lecture that in winter, flowers get very sad. Flowers get very sad. ليش? Because they will die. Many plants, you see that in your gardens. For example, in 1 month time, at the end of December, for example, when the weather will be very cold, you will look at your flowers and you see that all the flowers wither. كل الأزهار مالتكم راح تذبل. No more flowers, no more roses, no more so many. Even some plants, they are burnt with the coldness of winter. So as you see, the poet here highlights this very important image, which goes in contrast with the previous images. So we have contrast here, or we can call it paradox. Right? We have happiness above, we have joy, we have pleasure Every animal, every plant, everything is enjoying time, having fun, except in the last 3 lines which we see. And the paradox starts here in winter. Winter is won. Winter has come. We winter won يعني ال past participle of wear wear يعني يلبس. won لبس لبسنا الشتاء. ارتدينا الشتاء يعني now we are in the season of winter. And in that season, what happens to flowers? They get very sad. ليش? Because they will die because of the cold weather. And we are talking about the winter of England, which is a snowy winter, a very cold winter. Of course, in such a winter, flowers wouldn't withstand it, wouldn't remain alive. ما يمكن أن تتحمل هذا الجو. This is another important image which goes against all the images that we talked about previously. Here we come to the last 2 lines, and thus I see among these pleasant things. Now we have the speaker. We have the poet speaking about himself. If you noticed in the previous lines, previous 12 lines, the poet never... Yes?
Yes, Doctor, can I explain?
Yeah?
In the last 2 lines, the poet invoiced all the creators, musicians above, because they are active, happy, and vegan with their composition.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
While all his happiness has done and his sorrow started to spring. There is beginning in the last line when the poet compares his sorrow to quite fountain spring in spring, because the sorrow of human began start after spring.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, thank you. So, as you see here,
Welcome, Doctor.
as you see here, the poet has shifted the way of addressing and speaking. Now, the poet was talking about others, saying that winter is cold, summer is nice, the adders, the buck, the fish, the swift swallow, the busy bee, talking about other things, about other creatures, about other plants. But in the last 2 lines, you see the poet using the pronoun I, and thus I see among these pleasant things. أنا أرى من ضمن هذه الأشياء الجميلة اللطيفة كلها, each care decays. What do we mean here? Each care, كل سعادة, كل راحة, كل any kind of interest must or should come to an end. Each care must come to decay. معناها يضمحل, يعني مثل إذا تعرفوا يضمحلال أو ينتهي أو comes to an end. Each care decays, and yet my sorrow springs. الأحزان مالتي شبيها مثل السبرينجز هنا. The bow springs تنتشر, تنمو, تتطور. So we see here the sad note that the poet is not feeling happy here. The poet feels sad because of certain experiences. We don't know that there might be some biographical information related to the poem, but definitely the poet celebrates the beauty of nature and the happiness of the creatures of nature. But at the very end of the poem, he concludes with a sad note saying that he is a little bit sad. Okay? And this is, as I write here, the life cycle, دورة الحياة, the rebirth of this life. I think the images are clear. The sound devices, we have personification, most of the lines. We have alliteration here and there, and we have assonance in some of the lines, and we have contrast or paradox in the last lines. Now I'd like to highlight the rhyme scheme. As you see, we said that Henry Howard developed the English sonnets, which will be perfected later at the hands of Shakespeare. So he tried to add some changes to modify the Petrarchan sonnet and contribute something in this regard. So as you see here, the poem starts with the rhyme scheme. A, okay, and brings the veil. The veil, we give it the sound B. A, B. Let me add one more. Okay. Here we have mings. She sings. Sings and the brings are the same pronunciation, so we give it again the sound or the letter A. And veil and tail, we give it the letter B. أعتقد هذا الشيء سويناه سابقا. I think we did that earlier. And here we have springs, the same as the brings, and we have veil or pale. وهنا we have springs. Okay. We have the flinks A, we have a scale B, we have a slinks A, we have a smale B, we have minks A, and we have bale B, and we have things اللي هي A. هذا هو الرhyme scheme of the sonnet. I think the connection went off, so that's why your voices are missing. So I did the rhyme scheme and I put it on in this video. So I believe that the poem now is ready, and you can watch the video here in order to review before exams, for example, or whatever. This poem, if you don't have any questions, we can move to the next part of the lecture.